Hey everybody, how's it going out there in the chaos world? And today's the Electoral College, so we'll see if Walmart, Amazon, Apple, Google won the election for China, with China, or, you know, our other guy who now everyone's racing to take these vaccines, which is good. Anyway, I'm not even going to talk about that. This is a Honda suitcase generator. These things are the most reliable thing ever made on earth, hands down. We've had these for over 10 years. I think I changed the oil twice. They've run every day, all day on jobs in 10 degrees and 100 degrees summer. I think I put a spark plug in one. I've never even touched these things. Anyway, this one, you know, the recoil rope finally broke. No big thing. So you got to take it apart a little bit. You just take your time, and there's a lot of little screws in the handle on the bottom, and you'll see. You'll just check it out. It's pretty easy. So anyway, you get there's a pull start way in here. See it? It's like the rope comes through the side. So you got to get to it there. It's easy to do. And anyway, so I said, let me take the gas tank out. All these years, you know, stuff gets in it. Why not? It's easy. It's already loose. I got to disconnect the fuel line. So this is the reason for this video, because I've seen this throughout the years on mystery filters hidden. There was a giant payloader we rented. It was a Kobelco, and it kept dying. It had a Nissan diesel. Beautiful machine. The dealer couldn't fix it. It was stuck on a job site. It would idle and die. It was only like 2 years old. Big one. It was like a 4-yard. So, for my motorcycle and Honda and all these other things I've done, outboard motors and other stuff, I said, I know that Japan has very interesting little things they do, very cool details, which I love Japanese products. So let me look in the gas tank just for the heck of it. So anyway, on the bottom of this nipple, as you can see where the fuel line goes on, see it? You know, okay, there it is. Well, in there, believe it or not, as in the Kobelco payloader, and a fuel line right next to the injection pump on a diesel was a tiny micro filter hidden in the fuel line. Okay, guys, they were going to put new injection pumps on this thing. The dealer, they were going crazy with the payloader, so I took it apart. It was in a banjo bolt, a tiny filter that no one knew was dirty. And look, the Honda generator. This sits like this. Okay, so you can see the top part is clean, see, way up high, but half the tank and below is clogged solid. So this thing was dying, and we just couldn't figure it out. It would die and run and die. There it is. Okay, so I don't think even the Honda guys know this is in here. So if anybody has these EU 2000s and you're servicing it, clean that filter, and, you know, clean off this is the actual what's interesting about these generators, they're actually a DC generator built in together with the engine. The generators in there, right on the crankcase, DC permanent magnets. There's an inverter which changes the DC back to perfect AC, perfect sine wave. And what you can do is you could parallel these as cables where you could hook 2 or 3 together. It also has a battery charger. Let's see if I can show you in the back. You guys, if you know, I mean, this thing's amazing. So you have battery charging, 8 amp, 12 volt, 8 amp, you could charge batteries, but you could also parallel. See them 2 cables right there? Well, you plug 2 of these together, and now you got a 4,000. So I have a 1,000 watt one here. I just got done doing the carb. You have to drill the main jet out a tiny bit, very tiny bit on the carbs, because they run a little lean. You got to leave the choke half on, which is a common problem in the winter on these. But if you open up the main jet a tiny bit, I mean, a small amount, it'll run perfect. But it's a masterpiece of engineering. Now, the Chinese have copied these and sell them in Ryobi and Home Depot and Harbor Freight, and they look exactly the same. They're different colors, but they're actually copies. So I don't like that. I'm a Honda person, and I just love Honda quality of motorcycles, motors, engines. Some of their transmissions and cars are having problems, but otherwise these guys are just amazing. Yamaha outboard motors, and now Echo chainsaws, which I think run better. I like them better than Husky or Stihl. and Japan. So anyway, I figured you might help somebody. There's the inverter. They're kind of pricey. The bigger one I think is $1,500 on the 4,000 watt, 5,000 watt. We had to change one, went bad down in the Bahamas. That's a pricey unit right there. So you don't want to overload these too much. You could pop that. There's a circuit breaker, but that can go if it goes in a flood. It's like one big inverter. I'm surprised nobody's rebuilding them. I'm sure somebody will someday. And fixing one component, maybe the capacitor in there pops. See, there's two big capacitors down there. Or who knows, it could be anything that could pop. But it's a DC motor generator that turns an inverter back to 115 AC. Also, there's a guy that puts electric start with remote controlled on these, which is kind of an amazing. I don't know how he gets it in. You could probably use the DC part of this generator, like Onans, to spin the motor and not have to put a ring gear and starter. I don't know. I'm surprised nobody's done that, because you got a DC motor here, motor generator. You just got to find the leads, put diodes in, and have a contactor with a battery, like Onan, and it'll spin the motor to start it. Surprised nobody. Hey, that's my patent. The Chinese will steal it. Anyway, I used to work in some of this bizarre engineering stuff. So these are just Hondas. And if you're going to get one, get a Honda. It'll last forever. Just change the fuel all the time, because the fuel's rot. You know, after a few months, dump it out, put new fuel, dump the oil. Like, this is probably 10 to 15 years of dirty construction. I mean, severe dirty construction, laying out in mud puddles, running all day with guys with dirty gas cans just pouring it in. So it's not like a nice guy with a camper that took care of it. This thing was on a man lift for days running on one job with sand blowing in it. And it still runs good. I'm going to service it, clean the carb, this and that. But I figured while I have it, I was lucky to do that. Like my Bobcat you saw, the fuel line was pinched under the engine. That Bobcat I fixed last year. All it was is a simple problem. And people were ready to put a new injection pump on the Kubota engine. And all this telling me to take the fuel tank out. And it's just, let me do it old school. Let's verify everything first. Then, you know, then proceed. Don't just start changing parts on these, man. You'll go broke. Make believe you're poor and you don't have any money. Make believe you live in like Russia and you got to make it work with no parts, okay? And watch Russian videos. They'll show you how to make it work no matter what. All right, peace out, everybody.